Despite being one of the baddest men on the planet just a couple of years ago, post-retirement, Daniel Cormier seems to have taken on the role of being both a verbal and physical punching bag for active fighters.
That's the one thing you won't do is touch my man. Please don't do that.
Thank you, JG. Thanks for checking in with me. Hey, man, keep your hands off me, bro.
Oh, dude, what did you do?
Oh!
Yo,
See,
stop.
you're too slow.
The guy seems to immediately start getting messed with as soon as he forms any kind of a connection with a given fighter, and it's pretty funny because considering how reactive he was at times during his own fighting career and how little time has passed since he hung up the gloves, he really seems to have erased that part of his personality completely, turning into a self-deprecating, jolly fat guy who constantly downplays his abilities. It's almost poetic that he was Jon Jones' biggest rival because they really are direct opposites in every single way. Jones is mentally disturbed, chaotic, and extremely sensitive to criticism, while DC is one of the most sane former fighters I've ever seen and had one of the smoothest transitions to post-competition life, seemingly accepting his career for what it was, losses, criticism, and all. But sometimes it feels like he's becoming too passive, letting other fighters manhandle him for fun when it's obvious that he could flip the situation in an instant. Like pretending that he just couldn't deal with Alex Pereira's grappling when, logically speaking, a former wrestling Olympian would be able to give a guy who is primarily a kickboxer like Pereira fits even when he's out of shape.
Hey, stop this guy. Hey, someone please. Someone please. Security.
DC being a good sport isn't a big deal, of course. It's just a bit odd to see from a guy that started a decade-long feud with Jon Jones over Jones jokingly telling him that he could take him down. And DC did not roll with the punches at all and was ready to throw down at any sign of disrespect, like when he started a brawl because him and Jones touched foreheads. So the contrast with the jovial guy who now makes fighters comfortable enough to rub his bald head during interviews is a bit crazy to see.
And Max, you don't touch my head.
Not to mention the fact that his relationship with Islam Makhachev seems to almost exclusively revolve around Islam calling him a fat slob, which he does in a joking manner, but still feels like a straight up roast session at points, where Islam seems to go into these interviews just hoping that somebody asks about DC so that he can go on another rant about how big he's gotten post-retirement.
Look at this fat guy. He cannot complete anymore. He is a referee right now. He's a smart guy, you know. He don't wanna no more cut. He want to eat all day. He not eating. He promote, you know. They promote fast food and all this stuff, and still promoted. Like a couple months ago, he put some video about fast food. I say, hey, stop. You don't have to eat this because you're so big now, you know. When you last time in the gym, man?
I went.
Huh? I care about you. You have to training, do because Habib always training. But why you show like this?
But it's not only the people he's on good terms with that take shots at him, and they're not all made in jest. Ever since he became a full-time analyst, his takes have attracted a lot of abuse from both fans and fighters alike. And while he does seem to be loose with his words at times, calling for fighters to retire or pushing back against their claims of being a draw, he's not any more flagrant than somebody like Michael Bisping or Chael Sonnen, who constantly spouts sensationalized opinions that border on trolling. Yet he seems to be the one on the receiving end of insults more often than not.
That's not cool, man. You don't get to just talk to people any way you want, but also just being in a disrespectful manner. In my retirement, I have more beefs and more people coming at me than even when I was active, when I could do something about all the disrespect.
Like when former opponent Derek Lewis, who up to that point had a friendly relationship with him where the two joked around about Cormier's disrespect of Popeye's chicken, after DC made an admittedly cringe parody video called All About That Cake for the 7th Annual World MMA Awards, where he was dancing around with drumsticks and cupcakes to the melody of All About That Bass by Meghan Trainor, left the media confused at a pre-fight press conference when he insulted DC in an uncharacteristically serious tone.
Do people really like DC like that?
I don't know if DC will come back to fight.
Come on, man.
Like, if what would you challenge?
I told DC in his face, man. That guy a piece of he's a piece of scumbag, man. DC.
Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit more? Why?
He know why.
DC knows why?
Yeah, DC know why. And everyone know why, too. He disrespected Popeye's chicken. But other than that, he's a piece of shit.
I haven't seen him for a while, but I was pretty hard on him about retiring because he had lost a couple fights, and I was kind of telling the truth. And he seemed mad at me, but I haven't seen him. But I'm going to see him this weekend, and I'm going to kind of ask him, like, yo, are you mad at me? It sounds like it might be a little underlying. He might be a little pissed at me, maybe, because of the way I talked about him. I don't know what fight it was where he didn't look great. But then he knocked the last guy out, and I was like, well, I'm glad he's back. So I don't know. It kind of, my opinions go with their performances, and I think maybe that's what it is. But in terms of anything else, Derek and I don't really have much, many things that we do together outside of just the Popeyes thing and in our fight. But it's like we can't be mad at each other. Like, we already fought. It's like it's settled.
Be it the fact that he's gained a lot of weight or his newly subdued personality, but fighters no longer seem to consider DC as a threat, even when they're both guaranteed to run into him and happen to be several weight classes below him. Like Conor McGregor, who called him a fat fool, or Nate Diaz, who posted a picture of him crying in the octagon after his second Jon Jones fight and called him a bitch. Even Jake Paul picked him specifically to heckle from the sidelines as he was commentating UFC 261.
So I look behind me and he's like making faces at me and waving at me. He's like waving at me and making faces. I'm like, what in the world is happening? Like, what is happening?
In the middle of the broadcast.
Well, yeah, I was like, I'm 24. I'm like, this 24-year-old kid is like, he's heckling me. I'm not going to fight. I said, you're going to get yourself hurt, like messing around. I'm not going to fight with you and play these public shenanigans. I go, keep my name out of your mouth. He said, well, you said my name first. And I'm like, don't play with me. I said, don't play with me. I'm not a kid to be messing with like that.
It's become so expected for Cormier to be the butt of the joke that I began to doubt myself as I was making this video. Maybe it was always like that and I just never cared enough to notice. After all, the strongest memories I have of DC being aggressive were during his feud with Jon Jones. And that could have easily been excused by how much the two disliked one another, as well as the steroid controversy that made his losses to Jones such a bitter pill to swallow. But then I came across his appearance on the Pivot podcast, and my fears were immediately put to rest because out of his own mouth, DC painted himself as a guy that used to get triggered by children.
I pushed a little girl down one time.
DC.
I'm sorry, bro. I'm gonna tell you the truth. When I was fighting, I was just wired a little different. The little girl kept beating on Dan at Bob and Cassandra house for an Easter party. She pushed him down, so I pushed her down. I was like, you like that?
DC.
No.
DC. Did you just say, do you like that?
Hey, you like that? Hey, listen to this. There was a little boy at a park when Daniel was like 4 years old. We going up and down the slide, right? The little dude don't want to wait his turn. He keep pushing everybody. So I tell the dude, I go to the dude's father. I was like, hey, if your kid pushes my kid one more time, I said, I'm gonna push your down. He was like, what? I was like, man, get your kid under control. I was like, get your kid under control, man. I said, if he pushes him one more time, I'm gonna push you down. Dude left.
I guess the downside of being mentally balanced and mature enough to immediately come to terms with retirement in a ruthless sport like MMA after decades of relentless physical competition, to the point where you're constantly able to take jokes at your own expense, is the fact that some people will perceive that niceness for weakness and try to take advantage. But ultimately, it's a small price to pay for a peace of mind, so believe it or not, Daniel Cormier definitely ended his career the right way. Never ruminating over losses, setbacks, and things that could have been, and just focusing on what's relevant to his life in the actual present. A lot of fighters could and should use him as an example for a healthy transition to a post-competition life instead of constantly putting themselves in danger because they can't come to terms with the fact that it's over. At the end of the day, the average life expectancy is close to 80 years, so defining yourself by something that you do for 20% of it, if you're extremely lucky, is guaranteed to have you wasting the remaining 80%. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like the video if you liked it, and if you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell next to it. And if you want to support this channel further, become a member by hitting join if you're on Android or desktop, or the link in the description if you're on iOS.
People want to talk, oh, you're fat. Well, okay. I'm fat and I'm happy. And guess what else? I can be whatever I want, honestly, because it's up to me. If I'm comfortable with me, I don't care if you judge me. And this is a very strong message for people that are happy in their own skin. If you're happy in your own skin, even though behind closed doors at times you question whether or not you're getting a little too big. But if you're happy, you're happy. And that's what I want to tell these people that say I'm fat. Okay, I am. So what?
Yeah. So what?
So what?
That's right. So what? Yes,
I got a wife
course,
that loves me. I have children. I have my house. I have my health. I do this. You know,
You tell them, those people looking down on you. What do they have? Oh, wow.
Looking down on me because of my body. I hope that you got a six-pack.